Good afternoon and welcome to Spurs Kings TV. And today we're going to look ahead to our Europa League trip to Galatasaray this Thursday evening in what looks to be a really fascinating fixture in more ways than one. So, if we turn our attention to Galatasaray for a moment, they're currently sitting top of the Super League, having played 10 games, won 9 of those games, and drawn one. So, they haven't lost in the league yet, and they've scored plenty of goals. If we look at their Europa League journey so far, they're currently sitting in fifth. But again, they've won 2 games and drawn one. So again, they haven't lost and they've scored plenty of goals. And when you look at their team, it's no wonder. It's star studded. Osherman, Icardi, the list could go on. So they're a really good side on the pitch and they've had a really good start to the season so far. They've also got something up their sleeve that not many teams have, and one that Spurs might find a little bit tricky, given that I think we all agree Spurs still seem to have a little bit of a soft underbelly and sometimes don't rise to the occasion when the atmosphere or the scenario or the environment gets a little bit tough. And they don't come much tougher than when you go to Galatasaray, because as we know, their fans will make their ground a real hostile environment. They love their football. They'll be there. They probably can't wait for a big Premier League team to come. And if you're of a certain age, you'll probably remember things when United used to go in there in the Champions League and they'll be at the airport with welcome to hell signs. So it's going to be interesting to see whether the Spurs players can actually rise to the occasion or whether, like they have done in the past, sometimes shrink within inside themselves and not manage to turn up because things have got a little bit difficult. But we'll get on to Spurs in a little while. Like I say, this is going to be a real tough fixture and one that we probably don't need to win. I think with 9 out of 9, I think we've set ourselves up in a really good position to qualify and go through to the next stage. But we still want to get points on the board. I still think with the fixtures we've got enough to get over the line. So I don't think this is a must-win game. And I think those 2 big wins last week for Spurs against City and Aston Villa have taken some of the pressure off somewhat. Because I think had we gone into this game on the back of 3 defeats, Palace, City and Villa, I think we really would have been under some pressure, and Ange and the team might have felt they needed to try and get a result, and therefore probably would have had to go stronger than maybe we'll need to in the end. But let's look at Spurs. We go into this game, like I say, off the back of those 2 big wins that should have given us plenty of confidence. But this is Europa League. We're going to make changes. And as we found out yesterday, at the moment, not only are we missing Van der Ven, we're now going to be without Christian Romero, probably until after the international break. Richarlison's probably going to be out for at least a minimum of 4 weeks. So there's some headaches there for Ange at the moment. But I don't think that would have changed his plans too much on what he's going to do in this game, because I think we've seen he's been pretty consistent in the Europa League. And I think what we'll see is the lineup is pretty similar to what we've seen before. And that will be that Foster will be in goal. We'll have Archie Gray at right back. And again, this is going to be another big test for Archie Gray because he really suffered in the Man City game. And, a lot of people weren't happy with his performance. I feel sorry for the lad. He's not a right back. But let's see if he can rise to the occasion and have a good performance, because this will be a good learning experience for him. I think the centre back pairing right now speaks for itself. Dragusin and Davies. There isn't anyone else we can turn to. So those two will get games and minutes, and they seem to do quite well on Sunday when they were together. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they work and how they cope in this game with the sort of attacking talent that Galatasaray have. I think, again, because of the options, I think Ndogi will start at left back. It seems a bit of a no-brainer to me. Now, the midfield is a real interesting area because this is where Ange has the majority of his headaches. You've got players playing well, you've got players that need minutes, and you've got young lads that need to come in and get experience. For me, I think the midfield three will be Maddison, Basuma, and Bergval. I think Maddison's still looking to prove a point after that brilliant free kick at the weekend. And Ange may think, I'm going to put you in and see if you're looking to kind of show some creative spark and look to try and get back in my starting 11 for the Premier League. Basuma, I thought, did quite well when he came on Sunday, so I think he'll start. He needs the minutes. And Bergval, obviously, as we know, he's been a consistent so far in the Europa League, and I don't see that changing. And again, he's a young player that this game will be a massive and good learning curve for him. The front three slightly awkward with Richarlison now being out. And ultimately, I think we do need to give Solanke some minutes rest. He does a lot of work during every game. And although he scored those 2 goals at the weekend that would have given him some confidence, I think we need to try and fit him in some rest when we can. And this will be one of them games that's a perfect opportunity. For me, I think Mikey Moore will start out on the left. And again, this is a young lad. If he can put the sort of performance in he did in the last Europa League game, that would be brilliant for him. But this again will be a tough environment to try and do that in. One that he'll never have experienced, but one that'll be a great learning curve for him. Brennan Johnson, I think, picks himself at the moment on that right-hand side, scoring goals. Still think he could probably do a bit more with the ball at his feet and taking on his man. But while the guy's scoring goals and getting in the right positions, he picks himself. Up front, this is where I think there'll be a little bit of a curveball from Ange. I think Son was brought off given the fact that easing him back in from injury, making sure we're careful with the minutes. But I think Son will start up front in this game and he'll have the legs to kind of stretch the defence and also obviously get him some valuable minutes in before Ipswich on Sunday. Now, how do I think this game's going to go? As I said earlier, I don't think this is a game that we need to win. I don't think it's a must win. I think even if we weren't to pick up any points at all, I don't think it's the end of the world. But I think we're confident enough that we can go and get a point out of this game. It could be a 1-1 or, given the fact of the way Spurs defend and the way Galatasaray are scoring, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a 2-2 on the cards. Let us know what you think. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video and we'll see you again for another match preview next week. Cheers. Come on, you Spurs.